China has launched an engine that is forcing Toyota, Honda, and some of the biggest car manufacturers in the world to rethink everything they thought they knew about the future of automobiles. For years, the global auto industry has been locked in a fierce battle over batteries, charging technology, and electric vehicles. Most experts believed that the age of the traditional engine was slowly coming to an end. But then, a surprising announcement emerged from China that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Chinese automaker Geely has unveiled a new hybrid engine with a claimed thermal efficiency of 48.41%, a number so impressive that it immediately caught the attention of engineers and industry insiders around the world. Now, that may sound like just another technical statistic. But what if this single breakthrough could allow cars to travel more than 2,000 kilometers on a single tank of fuel? What if it could dramatically reduce fuel consumption while making many older petrol engines look outdated overnight? Suddenly, the race is no longer just about electric vehicles. And that's why companies like Toyota, Honda, Tesla, and BYD are paying very close attention to what is happening in China right now. Before we reveal why this engine is creating so much excitement and why some experts believe it could reshape the future of transportation, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest discoveries. Because what you're about to learn isn't just about a new engine. It could be the beginning of a major shift in the global automotive industry. But what exactly is thermal efficiency, and why is the entire world talking about this number? So why is everyone making such a big deal about thermal efficiency? To understand that, we first need to understand what happens inside an engine when fuel burns. Most people assume that all of the energy produced by fuel is used to move the vehicle. But that's far from the truth. A significant portion of that energy simply disappears as heat before it can do any useful work. For decades, automotive engineers have been fighting this problem. Every major manufacturer has been searching for ways to squeeze more usable energy out of every drop of fuel. Companies like Toyota and Honda became famous for doing exactly that. Their hybrid systems were considered some of the most efficient ever built. But now, a new player has entered the spotlight. Geely has announced an engine with a claimed thermal efficiency of 48.41%, a figure that has caught the attention of engineers across the globe. And that's exactly why the automotive world can't stop talking about it. At its core, thermal efficiency measures how effectively an engine converts fuel into motion. Think of it this way. If fuel contains 100 units of energy and an engine has 30% thermal efficiency, only 30 units are actually used to propel the vehicle forward. The remaining 70 units are lost through heat, friction, vibration, and various other inefficiencies. For years, this wasted energy has been one of the biggest limitations of petrol engines. In many older vehicles, thermal efficiency hovered around just 20 to 25%. In other words, the majority of the fuel's energy never contributed to moving the car at all. It simply vanished into the atmosphere as waste heat. This is why older vehicles consumed more fuel and delivered lower mileage. To overcome this challenge, manufacturers introduced countless improvements over the years. Fuel injection became more accurate. Engine designs became smarter. Mechanical friction was reduced. Combustion processes became more refined and controlled. Yet, despite all these advancements, engineers kept running into the same obstacle. Internal combustion engines naturally lose energy as heat, and eliminating those losses completely was considered nearly impossible. Then hybrid technology changed everything. And when people talk about hybrid success stories, one company immediately comes to mind: Toyota. Through vehicles like the Prius, Toyota demonstrated that combining a petrol engine with an electric motor could dramatically improve efficiency. Over time, Toyota's hybrid systems pushed thermal efficiency to around 40%. At the time, that achievement was viewed as a major engineering milestone. Reaching 40% meant significantly less energy was being wasted compared to traditional engines. As a result, Toyota hybrids delivered impressive fuel economy and much longer driving ranges. Honda wasn't far behind either. The company invested heavily in advanced engine calibration, lightweight construction, and sophisticated energy management systems to maximize efficiency. But now the industry's attention has shifted toward China. Geely claims its latest hybrid engine has achieved an astonishing 48.41% thermal efficiency. On paper, the jump from 40% to 48% may not sound revolutionary. Many people might see it as only a small improvement. However, engineers see it very differently. The closer an engine gets to its theoretical limits, the harder each additional percentage point becomes to achieve. That's why moving from 40 to nearly 50% is considered an extraordinary accomplishment. What makes this number so important is that nearly half of the fuel's energy is now being converted into useful motion. Energy that would normally disappear, as heat is instead helping move the vehicle down the road. The result is lower fuel consumption, greater efficiency, and the possibility of extremely long driving ranges. This is why the automotive industry has been paying such close attention. For decades, Japanese manufacturers were regarded as the undisputed leaders in efficient engine technology. Surpassing companies like Toyota and Honda was something very few people expected. Yet Geely's achievement suggests that China is no longer focused solely on batteries and electric vehicles. It is rapidly becoming a serious competitor in advanced engine development as well. But that raises an even bigger question. How exactly did Geely achieve something that many experts thought would be incredibly difficult? Because a thermal efficiency figure of 48.41% isn't just a marketing headline. It represents years of engineering innovation and technical refinement. And perhaps the most surprising part is that this breakthrough wasn't based on copying existing designs. Instead, Geely introduced several innovations of its own that have attracted worldwide attention. Let's start with one of the most important factors: an extremely high compression ratio. Inside an engine, air and fuel are compressed before ignition. Generally speaking, the greater the compression, the more energy can be extracted from the combustion process. The challenge is that excessive compression often causes engine knocking, uncontrolled combustion that can damage internal components. Geely tackled this problem using an advanced combustion management system that allows the engine to operate safely even under extremely high compression conditions. The result is simple: more energy from every drop of fuel. The second breakthrough involves fuel delivery. Traditional engines often struggled to inject fuel with perfect precision. Small inaccuracies could lead to inefficient combustion and unnecessary fuel consumption. Geely's system uses highly precise fuel injection technology that delivers exactly the required amount of fuel at precisely the right moment. Imagine a chef measuring ingredients with absolute perfection. That's essentially the level of precision this engine applies to fuel management. The benefit is cleaner combustion, less waste, and improved efficiency. Another major factor lies in the combustion chamber itself. In most engines, combustion is a chaotic process. Energy is released rapidly, creating excessive heat and unavoidable losses. Geely redesigned this process to make combustion far more controlled and uniform. By allowing fuel to burn more evenly, the engine can convert a greater percentage of energy into useful power instead of losing it as heat. This is one of the key reasons behind the engine's remarkable efficiency figures. Then there's another factor that often goes unnoticed: friction. Inside any engine, countless moving parts are constantly rubbing against one another. Every bit of friction consumes energy that could otherwise be used for propulsion. To address this, Geely incorporated advanced materials and specialized coatings that significantly reduce internal resistance. Think of the difference between pushing an object across rough concrete and sliding it across polished ice. The smoother the surface, the less effort required. The same principle applies inside the engine. With lower friction losses, the engine operates more efficiently and consumes less fuel. But perhaps the most futuristic feature of all is its AI-powered engine management system. This is where the engine begins to separate itself from conventional designs. Older engines typically follow fixed operating patterns. Whether driving through city traffic, cruising on a highway, or climbing a steep incline, they have limited ability to adapt dynamically. Geely's intelligent system continuously analyzes driving conditions and adjusts engine operation in real time, ensuring that efficiency remains as high as possible regardless of the situation. In older vehicles, the engine usually operated in a predictable and fixed manner. It didn't matter much whether the car was crawling through traffic, cruising on an open highway, or climbing a steep hill. The engine's response remained largely the same. But modern AI-powered systems have changed that completely. Geely's intelligent engine management system constantly analyzes real-time data. It tracks how aggressively the driver is accelerating, the type of road conditions, the battery's charge level, and the vehicle's fuel consumption. Using all of this information, the system continuously adjusts engine operation to maximize efficiency. This creates another major advantage. In a hybrid vehicle, the engine doesn't have to work at full capacity all the time. Sometimes the electric motor takes over part of the workload, and during braking, energy is recovered and sent back into the battery. Because of this, the engine can remain in its most efficient operating range far more often than a traditional petrol engine, and that is one of the biggest reasons hybrid technology has become so effective. How did China advance so fast? Perhaps the most fascinating question is how China managed to reach this level so quickly. Not long ago, many people viewed China primarily as a manufacturing powerhouse. The common belief was that Chinese companies simply produced products based on ideas developed elsewhere. Today, that perception is changing rapidly. China is no longer just building products, it's creating technology. Companies like Geely are investing enormous amounts of money into research and development. Teams of software specialists, AI engineers, automotive experts, and research scientists are working together in highly advanced facilities. As a result, China is progressing not only in batteries and electric vehicles, but also in sophisticated engine technology. And that may be what concerns traditional automakers the most. In the past, competition from China was often associated with lower prices. Now, the challenge is becoming technological as well. The truth behind the 2,000-kilometer range. Now let's talk about the claim that has surprised people around the world. How can a hybrid vehicle travel more than 2,000 kilometers without refueling? At first, it sounds almost impossible. Most drivers are impressed when a vehicle offers a range of 500 or 600 kilometers. Electric vehicle owners often need to plan charging stops, while conventional petrol vehicles require regular refueling. But this new generation of hybrids is playing a completely different game. Imagine filling up your fuel tank once and then driving across multiple cities without worrying about finding a gas station. That's exactly why this technology is attracting so much attention. The secret lies in the combination of three key elements: an ultra-efficient petrol engine, a smart battery system, and regenerative braking technology. Together, these systems dramatically reduce fuel consumption. Let's start with the engine itself. Older petrol engines wasted a significant amount of fuel energy. Modern hybrid engines, however, are able to extract far more useful power from every drop of fuel. In simple terms, while a conventional vehicle might travel 12 to 15 kilometers on 1 liter of fuel, a highly efficient hybrid can travel much farther using that same amount. The engine isn't just generating power, it is managing energy much more intelligently. Then comes the battery. Many people assume that because hybrid batteries are smaller than EV batteries, they must have limited benefits. But that's where many people misunderstand hybrid technology. A hybrid vehicle doesn't rely solely on its petrol engine. During low-speed driving, traffic conditions, and city commutes, the electric motor assists with propulsion. This means the engine isn't carrying the full burden all the time. And when the engine works less, fuel consumption naturally decreases. But the real secret weapon is regenerative braking. In a normal car, braking simply converts motion into wasted heat. A hybrid vehicle does something different. Instead of letting that energy disappear, it captures part of it and stores it back inside the battery for future use. In other words, the system continuously recycles energy that would otherwise be lost. This is one of the biggest reasons hybrid vehicles can achieve such impressive fuel economy. To understand the impact, consider a simple example. If a hybrid vehicle can achieve around 35 to 40 kilometers per liter and is equipped with a 50-liter fuel tank, the theoretical driving range can approach 1,800 to 2,000 kilometers. And this is where things become very interesting for the future of transportation. While some EV drivers may still be planning charging stops on long journeys, hybrid drivers could continue traveling for much longer without interruption, especially in regions where charging infrastructure is still developing. For many consumers, that level of convenience may look extremely attractive. Why Toyota and Honda are paying close attention. This brings us to another important question. Why are companies like Toyota and Honda watching these developments so carefully? To understand that, we need to look back at history. For more than 2 decades, Japan dominated the hybrid vehicle market. Toyota, in particular, became synonymous with hybrid technology. Vehicles like the Prius introduced millions of people to the idea that combining a petrol engine with an electric motor could dramatically reduce fuel consumption. While many competitors were still experimenting with hybrid concepts, Toyota was already producing and selling them at scale. Honda also built a strong reputation through highly efficient, reliable, and refined engine designs. One of Japan's greatest strengths was its attention to engineering detail. Small improvements were perfected over many years, helping Japanese manufacturers build a reputation for world-class efficiency. But now, the landscape is beginning to shift. Chinese automakers are no longer focused exclusively on electric vehicles. They are also making rapid progress in hybrid technology. Geely's claimed 48.41% thermal efficiency has become a symbol of that shift. This isn't just another engine launch. It's a challenge to a leadership position that Japan has held for decades. Think about it. The same field where Toyota spent years establishing dominance is now becoming a battleground where Chinese companies claim they are setting new benchmarks. And perhaps that's the most surprising part of all. Only a few years ago, many people associated China with low-cost manufacturing and copycat products. Today, the conversation is very different. China is investing heavily in research, artificial intelligence, software integration, and advanced production technologies. Because of that, traditional automakers may not openly admit concern, but behind the scenes, development teams are likely working harder than ever. In the automotive industry, technological leadership is everything. Once consumers begin to believe that the most important innovations are coming from somewhere else, even the strongest brands can start to lose their advantage. And right now, engineers at Toyota and Honda are likely facing a reality they haven't seen in a long time. For years, their hybrid systems were considered the standard that everyone else tried to match. But now, someone new is trying to rewrite the rules. And then, almost overnight, China appeared with an engine that claims even higher efficiency. That changes everything. Because the competition is no longer centered only around manufacturing costs or vehicle prices. The battleground has shifted toward innovation, engineering, and technological leadership. This is why many analysts believe that companies like Toyota and Honda are already working behind the scenes on their next major breakthroughs. Perhaps they're developing a new generation of hybrid powertrains. Maybe they're accelerating research into solid-state batteries. Or perhaps they're creating even smarter AI-driven systems capable of squeezing every possible bit of efficiency from an engine. Whatever the strategy may be, one thing is clear: standing still is no longer an option. Because in the automotive world, losing your technological edge can eventually mean losing your position in the market. And this is where China's biggest advantage becomes impossible to ignore. Chinese manufacturers move incredibly fast. Backed by government support, powerful supply chains, and massive investments, they can develop, test, and launch new technologies at a pace that few countries can match. That's one of the reasons China has become such a dominant force in batteries, electric vehicles, and now hybrid powertrains as well. Japanese automakers, on the other hand, have traditionally taken a different path. Their philosophy has always emphasized reliability, durability, and extensive testing before releasing new technology to customers. That careful approach helped Japanese brands earn a reputation for producing some of the most dependable vehicles in the world. But in a rapidly changing industry, moving slowly can sometimes become a disadvantage. And that may be why the balance of power in the automotive world appears to be shifting. A few years ago, America dominated headlines with electric vehicles. Japan was known as the leader in fuel-efficient engines. Now China is aggressively challenging both positions at the same time. Could hybrid technology become a challenge for EVs? This brings us to one of the most debated questions in the industry today. Could advanced hybrid technology become a serious obstacle to the all-electric future? For years, consumers have been told that EVs are the inevitable next step. Companies like Tesla, BYD, Hyundai, Kia, and many others have invested billions of dollars into electric vehicle development. Governments around the world have also announced plans to gradually reduce dependence on traditional petrol and diesel vehicles. But now, a new factor has entered the conversation: ultra-efficient hybrid systems. Think about it for a moment, because the next major industry breakthrough could arrive sooner than anyone expects, and you won't want to miss it.